Hello and welcome back. I want to do a quick review of something called the concept map. Now, presumably you've probably already participated in one of these. If you did one of the earlier trainings, you're familiar with it to some degree, but I want to quickly go through and remind you of this. It's certainly one of my favorite for using with my students. It is a type of formative assessment of learning, so it's not an exam or something like that. It's something to get them to thinking about a topic and the different components of a topic and trying to organize that information during the learning process. It's also an active learning activity that Chilan's talked to you about. It's an opportunity to engage students in discussion, both discussion as the students, especially if they're working in a group to do a concept map, they have to talk together, work together, negotiate together on different kinds of things related to the concept map. And it's also an opportunity to engage students in those groups and teams. Again, I really use this a lot working with my students in terms of groups and teams. It can be done individually, of course. This is a concept map of a concept map. Here's the central theme here. Advantages of a concept map: easy to learn, nonlinear, visually organized, relationships are clear, presents a complete picture. What is a concept map? A graphic outline. It's a visual representation. Keywords are prominent. Here's the keywords. There's keywords there's keywords down here, and linking categories and connections. So here they've divided it up into 4 categories. How do you create it? Select a topic. Students will need to do they have to have some knowledge in order to put this together. So they're either reading, listening to lecture, going back to the notes, doing research, brainstorming, talking together, linking relationships and concepts. What do you use it for? All sorts of things. Organizing ideas. Anytime you're organizing ideas, maybe organizing ideas when the students are trying to develop an essay, about a large essay about a large topic, taking notes, presentations, and so on. So this is one concept map of concept maps. Here's another one. Concept maps represent organized knowledge, which are concepts which are labeled with symbols and words. So here's your symbols and words and linkages, the arrows. Notice there are arrows, whereas in the other one there were simply lines connecting them. So this shows a pattern or a flow of information. The other thing to recognize is they're putting in some verbs. So concept maps represent organized knowledge, which is content dependent. Organized knowledge are prepositions which may be cross-linked to show interrelationships between different segments of the map. All right, so there's different ways to link these things together. This is an example. I often give this to my students where I give them a list of words. They cut those little pieces of paper out. They put them on a big piece of paper. They're too small for you to read, but that's not the point. The point is you can see the pattern where they've drawn arrows, they've drawn lines connecting these different things, they've clustered words together, differentiating that cluster of words from this cluster of words and how they all link together. This is one group. This is exactly the same set of words for another group at the same time, and you can see they've organized it in a different way. Every group will do this a little bit differently in how they visually represent how they think about that particular topic. At what level of Bloom's taxonomy are our students working when they're doing a concept map? Well, let's see. They have to remember and understand the words. Apply, maybe a little bit, especially if there's a sequence of kinds of things where they have to think about a sequence of events or something like that. Analyze, they have to take these different pieces and decide how do these relate to each other and how do we put them together. Evaluate, absolutely evaluate. They have to make judgments. Does this word belong here or does it belong over here with these words? Does this word belong there or with this one or that one? Should we make a line here? They're making lots and lots and lots of judgments, evaluation as they're making their map. And of course the map itself is a creation. They are creating. So they're working at essentially all levels of Bloom's taxonomy when they're doing a concept map. That's one reason I personally really like these. Again, it gets them away from this idea of novice and how they think about knowledge as discrete little bits of information and start to get them to recognize relationships, whether it's hierarchical or other kinds of interrelationships, and gets them to visually put that down on a piece of paper and show that. Okay, now, when we have been in your country before, doing some of these workshops earlier on. We've used these concept maps. Here's a group of participants. This gentleman right here is Richard Cook, Dr. Cook from the University of Illinois. He also has a lot of interactions with Njala University there in Sierra Leone. And they're putting together a concept map on some of the concepts that we dealt with in those workshops. Some other examples and a couple of, subtle things you'll see. They're talking together, they're pointing, they're standing up, they're moving around. This is the whole room, and you can see almost everyone is standing up. Everyone's engaged. They're leaning over. They're talking to each other. The noise level is going up like that. Lots and lots of activity. Great activities, great activities. And what are we doing? Well, we're kind of wandering around the room here and listening to what they're saying and answering questions and helping them out if help is needed. I show you this one because we also, at one point, and this was earlier on in the Sphere project, there was a period of time where there's a focus on what was being called curriculum review, where several curricula at different universities were being revamped and revised as kind of the first set of curricula to engage in the things that Sphere was about. And so what we did was we took all the modules that were part of that four-year degree program, put each of those on a half piece sheet of paper, and we had them do it on the floor so that everyone could see. So here they're trying to organize these things, debating with each other, negotiating with each other, organizing them, probably organizing them by year here in these rows. You've got a couple sets here and a couple sets there. Everyone can see it. We also gave them pieces of string to draw those connections between the different courses, the modules, so that if something was required here that maybe was required for a course module here, they could draw those connections. The little tags here, the little post-it notes, were different elements that, going back to those skills gaps that we were talking about, say critical thinking might have been one of them. Well, which of these modules are going to embed certain kinds of things, communication skills, critical thinking skills, and so on. So they could see the overall process as they went through, and they could actually visualize how that four-year degree program looked, sitting there on the floor. And here they are discussing and so on, and kind of looking at the end when everything was organized and discussing that. Okay. You have a concept map assignment. Will be given a sheet of paper with an array of words. You want to cut those words out, place them on a large piece of paper that you'll be given. Collaborate with your colleagues. Please work in groups here. Collaborate. Arrange them any way that you find most meaningful to you. There is no right or wrong answer. Consider different kinds of arrangements for words. So don't just say, oh, this word goes here, absolutely. Well, it might also go over here, or it might go over there. How do we organize this? Add connecting lines, arrows, verbs, like I showed you a few moments ago, as you think best. This is your concept map. Again, there is no right way and no best way. Just do whatever arrangement of these words is most meaningful to you. Again, these words represent a lot of the things that we've been talking about in these videos for this pedagogical training. Good luck.